When the iPad was first announced, it was touted as just a larger iPhone. At the time, it was almost hard to envision the future of this device and its purpose. Until now. The iPad paired with the Apple Pencil gives you the freedom to write your notes wherever and never lose them. You can read magazines, graphic novels, books, stream a ton of content, all from a device that weighs less than a pound. It truly is magical, and it holds its place as the dominant tablet in the market. Period. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Aman and I'm a software engineer and I make videos to share my love and understanding of tech with you. In today's video, I will be talking about the iPad and why it's one of the best companions for a student and any professional. And I'll be answering the key question on why you should even be considering it. I will also be leaving a timestamp in the description below. So let's start off with the design. The iPad features a timeless design. It is predominantly focused on two key areas: portability and simplicity. You can see this through the iterations over the years. Apple is obsessed and sometimes even mocked for its reduction in weight and thinning of bezels over the years, but it is part of their design philosophy. Recently, they got rid of their home button to make more space for their display. Honestly, it's functional and in some ways perfect, though with bigger sizes, it can be ergonomically challenging. For a long time, the iPad was limited by iOS, since it shared the same operating system as the iPhone. There were no features that separated the device other than a bigger size and typically a better display too, until Apple unveiled the iPadOS, a shift in focus where Apple was willing to distinguish the iPad from the iPhone and really make it its own device. It was here where multitasking, file management became a centerpiece. Apple touts the iPadOS as a laptop replacement, and personally, this is an overstatement since while it does indeed do a number of things you can do on a laptop, you will at times fight with the OS, and things like copying directories to another location is more painful on the iPad than on a traditional laptop. Also, the lack of pro apps like Final Cut and Logic Pro are not supported on the iPad either, which may or may not come in the near future. These limitations aside, it is amazing at its capability to store and capture ideas on the fly. And naturally, as far as media consumption goes, it can't get more portable than this given the screen size. I will talk about the use cases in a moment, but definitely want to stress that in unique cases, the iPad can indeed replace your laptop. However, for more professional uses, like developers, video editors, the limitations become more obvious. Where the iPad shines, and really any product within the Apple line of products, is their integration between each other, the ecosystem. You've most likely heard of it, and if you watch Apple events, they love talking about it, and it's showcasing how their products work together and your activity on one device seamlessly carrying over to the next. It can feel magical, but really it's embedded within their core values, and it shows. Except for one device. The integration between the iPad and Apple Watch can at times feel lacking, like Unlock with Apple Watch is not available on the iPad. Outside of that, if you have an iPhone and an iPad, you'll get the benefits of receiving your SMS, iMessages, and phone calls on both devices. There's also universal copying and pasting. You can copy a text on your iPad and paste it on your iPhone. iCloud brings your files together, and continuity allows you to continue your browsing session to continue when you switch to either device. That's a lot of continues. There's also AirDrop, a feature that I have been using more extensively than I thought, and it allows you to transfer a file directly to a device quickly. A new feature, Focus Assist, has been stellar too, since it allows custom do not disturb rules, which would be enabled on all devices simultaneously. There's more features that the ecosystem offers, but in my regular usage, these are the ones that I have found value in and continue to use regularly. This is the only place where you can customize the usage of the iPad, and the store feels organized, and it does offer a larger variety of applications for multiple uses. I will go over some of the notable ones that I feel brought me the greatest value over time, and this video isn't sponsored by anyone. If you look up the differences between the two, it will stem up a debate, since though they are both note-taking applications, they both have different philosophies on how to go about it. Originally, I started with Notability since I appreciated the record function, which records the presenter, and during playback, you can see the notes you wrote during the presentation. The organization of Notability is more akin to having multiple dividers in a binder. This can take some time in getting used to, And also more recently, they opted for a subscription-based approach. And if you approach the application before November 1st, 2021, you will have lifetime access to the previous features and the content that was purchased. I purchased Goodnotes about a year after using Notability, since the organization and UI felt more cluttered in Notability. This is of course a personal preference. Goodnotes takes the notebook approach, and each page is contained and isn't an infinite canvas. Also, there are numerous templates available which you can use to better organize your digital life. Honestly, the application feels more natural to use since it uses methods that I used in my daily life beforehand. And I think that's an important note to make. In the end, these are merely tools, and they won't magically make you start writing more unless you already had that habit beforehand, or make a conscious effort to make it a new habit. So pick the application that offers the least path of resistance. And remember, Apple has its own Notes app, which is fairly feature-rich in of itself. Let me preface that I am by no means an artist. My drawing skills are challenged to say the least, so I can't speak too much in regards to the features. I've always wanted to learn, and that was one of the driving forces behind the purchase. I haven't spent as much time as I wanted to on the application, let alone in developing my skills, but I can tell you the app is feature-rich and feels complete. The UI is intuitive and doesn't require much technical know-how. There are multiple pens you can choose from, and there's a plethora of customization for you to achieve your vision. I would recommend looking up some artist renders on YouTube to get an idea on the things that you can create. So, one of the main reasons why I even purchased an iPad or was in the market for a tablet was honestly so I can read graphic novels on a portable device that was as close to a comic book dimension. I was introduced to comic books and graphic novels during one of my college classes and really enjoyed the medium. But the books are space takers and can require effort to bring along. Also, the risk of damaging them is higher. And so I came across this application thanks to a Reddit thread, and absolutely can't recommend it enough. It auto-organizes the books by title and volumes in order. It can import comics that are stored on your personal cloud service, and you can sync up with iCloud as well. The comics render very well, and there have been no issues since I've been using the app. If you enjoy scrolling endlessly through a barrage of posts about a multitude of topics, let me introduce you to Apollo, one of the best interfaces for interacting with Reddit. It is extensively feature-rich, gets constant updates from a dedicated developer, intuitive to use, and most likely the app that is singly responsible for taking up most of my daily screen time. So this is an interesting category. If you scroll through Apple's own page titled Why iPad, you can clearly see that the iPad is meant for a lot of uses, and it may even inspire you to use it for things outside of things you originally intended. Personally, I find this fascinating as it's one of those devices where you can always tell yourself, you know what, let me try that on the iPad, and each time you'll surprise yourself a little bit. So as a software engineer, outside of coding, there's a whole lot of designing and thought put into how various components in an application should interact with each other, or how data should be stored, or sometimes you want to sketch for a mock-up, be it for a website or an application. These are things made possible by the combination of the iPad and the Apple Pencil, since it allows you to sketch out these ideas and concepts, make adjustments to them with ease, and more importantly, since it's digital, it makes it easier to share with your colleagues, and it can further enhance the knowledge base of your code. As I said previously, I do use Goodnotes to capture these notes and have a notebook dedicated to user stories and bug designs. Let me know in the comments if you would be interested in learning about my process and workflow, and I'll go ahead and make that video out for you. Another key area where the iPad has been great is for storyboarding. With my YouTube videos, I try to make a rough draft of the sequence of scenes and how my thumbnails should look, so being able to brainstorm and jotting these ideas has been amazing. Outside of productivity and work-related tasks, the iPad is just fun to use. It makes watching YouTube videos fun depending on the form factor. I know some people also watch movies and shows on it, and it's great, but I typically reserve that activity for my home cinema. Reading comics, graphic novels, books is a pleasure too, given that the screen size, and as I am subscribed to The Economist and New York Times, getting to read the daily and weekly editions is comfortable and reminds me of the times when I would sit back and read a magazine. Apple also has a service called Apple Arcade, which grants you access to mobile games without any in-app purchases. I subscribed to the free trial and have been using it for a few weeks now, and it's honestly really fun, and the collection of games are grand. Though I will most likely make a future video covering this topic in more detail as I'm in the process of reviewing the service. If you have been following this video so far, you probably noticed that my uses of the iPad strongly revolve around the pencil. Honestly, it is the most transformative accessory that transforms a device centered around consumption to a device that stems creation. In the end, it is just a pencil or a stylus with a pointy tip, but as we know, a pencil has the power for us to write, share, and learn new ideas, and the iPad digitizes them, keeping them safe. The battery life of the pencil is fantastic, as it lasts about 10 to 12 hours, and the charge time is about 15 minutes, and can be charged via the iPad either magnetically if you have the Apple Pencil Gen 2 or via lightning ports for the Gen 1. The pencil is lightweight and well balanced. The Gen 2 offers a double tap feature which allows you to toggle between two modes. Default is pencil and eraser. The tips are long lasting unless you apply a paper-like screen on your iPad, which will require you to replace the tips more frequently. I have not used the paper-like screen protectors, though I would recommend writing on the glass first and trying to get used to it, and go with the screen protector if you are having a hard time adjusting to the more slippery display. This part astonishes me to no end, since despite the iPad being so feature-rich and capable, and also dominating the performance spectrum in the tablet market, it still manages to be energy efficient. For heavier usage, the battery can last me a day to day and a half. I define heavier usage as lots of note taking of roughly 1 to 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours of YouTube, and browsing Reddit for another 2 to 3 hours, and at some point tossing in a game or two for less than an hour. For lighter usage, and you'll be charging this device every couple of days. The charge time can be long depending on the outlet and brick you are using, so bear that in mind. I would recommend charging it while you sleep, so the iPad is always ready to go when you are. Does it replace a laptop? Well, it depends. As I've illustrated through the video, the iPad is a versatile piece of technology that can do a lot. But would I write code on it? Would I edit my videos on it? No. And that's because the OS doesn't support those types of applications, and as a result limits the extent of the device. Sure, you can edit videos, but in iMovie or one of the third-party offerings. However, that has its own limitations if you're coming from Final Cut Pro. If you don't plan on doing these things and your workflow involves consuming media, taking notes, and writing up a document or working with the Office suite, then absolutely the iPad would crush those tasks. However, if your workflow is more on the niche side, which requires a specific set of tools, then the iPad serves as a companion device that will give you a creative outlet on the go so you can make those ideas come to life on your laptop or desktop. The day that Apple decides to offer touch support for the Mac OS and brings it to the iPad form, that would be the day an iPad can truly replace a laptop. But until then, it depends. We started this journey asking ourselves, why the iPad? I went through the many ways it can help us in digitizing our notes, facilitating our workflow, expanding its usage through applications found in the App Store, and just allowing us to sit back and reading a book and watching a movie. If you noticed, I haven't mentioned that you need an iPad, since in most cases, you don't. It is simply a tool that would facilitate an aspect of your life. I think that's a crucial piece of the puzzle. Don't buy this device thinking that it will change your life. Buy it with the intention of incorporating it into your existing workflow or allow it to build new ones. Truly, it is a magnificent device that can do a lot for a lot of use cases. And since it's offered at multiple price points, I'm sure there is one that will match your needs. It is remarkable to see where the iPad was and where it is today. And I'm excited to hear about the different ways that you used it or you intend to use one. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I sincerely hope that it did help you answer some key questions. Please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon to stay up to date with my latest uploads. Feel free to check out this playlist where I have posted my other product reviews. Thank you so much, and see you in the next one. Cheers.